live and we're blinded. Lights, big lights. Hey, good morning. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And today we're back in the office. I'm back in Philly. And I want to talk about giant done issue piles. And I'm going to get into that. It's like everyone complains about how their systems are slow. No matter what it is. Jira, Azure, Rally, version 1, no matter what the system is. So we're going to kind of talk about these giant done piles of beep, right? Just beep, 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 beep. So we're going to talk about that today. And this 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. This is our 672nd episode. And we talk about Agile Scrum in a practical, tactical way so you can deliver value to customer. And this goes to value to your customer. We're going to talk about that. We're going to reach into that a little bit. Make it so you're not working some crazy hours to get that value to the customer. Get home to family and friends. So when things go crappy for you, you have a place to stay for a little while until you can't stand each other anymore. And have some fun, right? Got to have fun. If you're not having fun, one person said they've been so busy. I was emailing people, thanking them for congratulating me for my 2-year, for my new job and my 2-year anniversary with 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. And that one person, they've been so busy. I'm like, oh, we got to talk about that. You got to be able to get out and stretch your brain and your what you're doing. So why are we talking about this thing? So we're talking about the giant piles of done beep, 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 beep issues. What is that? What am I talking about? Okay, so lately, been to a couple of really large companies helping them out, getting them situated, and they have like 4 million issues in their system. Well, on average, it's like some were 2 million, some with 1 million, but there are 4 million issues. The company is not doing that many issues now. The systems that were built for worrying about stuff that's coming in the future, not the past. And this is where companies, corporations, anybody misses the benefit of Agile. In theory, once it's done, don't give a crap anymore. It's useless data. It's extra burden. It's extra documentation. You see where I'm getting at with that? Over documentation kind of thing. We just need enough documentation. Just enough documentation is what you're doing now. Maybe what you did a couple months ago, or this current year only, or within a year or something, and then the future. I don't even know if it goes back a year, to be honest with you, because theoretically it should be done. If it's not done, you should question your organization. This is what I'm saying. So all these companies got all this stuff. Then their systems get slow. Searches get slow. They have to put lots of money and time investing in it. But they're thinking about it all wrong. The systems are designed for the future. It's like a couple of programs talk about portfolio planning. They look at the future. They don't care about the past. If you look at the way the software is written, it doesn't really show you what has been done, because you know what? In theory, you shouldn't care. You shouldn't be spending your time on what you got done, because it already been given, the value's been taken and provided to the customer. Now all you're doing is creating documentation, which doesn't add any value to the customer. Looking at the past does not help value. Only thing is you need a couple sprints to see what your velocity is so you can figure what you can do in the future. You don't need the past, right? And what these big companies and people don't get is you don't need that. So what I would love to offer, you should take all that data out, put it in a database somewhere, so if you get audited or you need compliance issues or whatever, it's there. These systems that we're using to manage our Scrum are not historical records. And that's where they're making the mistake. They're trying to use their working system also as a historical reference archiving system. And that's the flaw. The flaw in their mentality. And what they really should be doing is taking that old data that's over a year old, even sooner, 6 months old, and what you're doing, it should be archiving it, right? And in another database, just because it's all big. These systems are just big, giant databases. They're not that ingeniously fancy. They just got a nice, slick front end, but they're just a big database. So you can download all this data, get it out of the system, put it into a database somewhere, and help your system run more optimal. But they don't get it because you're stuck in the way of, well, this system should also be the archiving system. What do you make more money at? The archiving system or people writing new code and getting new product out? What gets more value to the customer? The older stories that you're never going to look at it again? And why you would relate to that, I don't know. Because you shouldn't be putting code in there anyhow. Code's in your code base or whatever you're doing in the past. I mean, it's nice. You can get some records and some reports of what you did. You could snap it. You can make a PDF. Here's what we did in the quarter. Here's what we did in the month. Fine. You just snap it and put an archive if you really need to reference it. But in theory, you shouldn't have to. The idea is what you're doing now, what you're doing in the future. And this new way of working is the way you got to think, because it's so fast, so moving. If you're so worried about what you're doing a couple of years ago, it's not worth it. I heard a gentleman the other day talk about projecting a year, two in advance of what you want to do. And I'm like, holy shit. We don't know what the fuck we're going to be in a year or two, and they're like, oh, predict our, and I think you can't. I mean, you can maybe do the year, and that's really all you should do. And you can extrapolate, oh, we're doing this, we'll do the same next couple of years. But the actual physical work and the work you want to build, what you want to build a year from now, is so ludicrously crazy, right? So big piles of beep. Those old issues in your system, PBI items, you need to pull out of the system. Put them in a database somewhere, archive them somewhere. And you can care if you use a DB3, which is what I used when I first got into databases, 1990. Whatever it is, it just needs to get archived and out of the system. And I think people are missing the boat on that, and they're scared shitless to move it out because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But they should, and they should pull it out. And I'm really surprised that they haven't made those recommendations. Like when you get 1 million. Oh, and the other thing is, these really large companies, you shouldn't put everything on the same server. If you have dependencies, well, maybe I'll save that for another day. I'll talk about that later. But that's my thing. So today, you got the big, giant, done piles of issues, right? You got to get them off your systems. It'll make your systems run better. Your queries will run better. Your processing will run better. And who gives a rat's ass what got done in the past? Because you already got that money. And if you don't have the money, then you're doing it wrong. And if you have stuff in there that's been sitting in there for a year and you're not doing it, either you got to delete it and get rid of it, or you suck. I'm just saying. When I come to these companies, that's the first thing I look for. Give me anything that's a year old. I want to know everything that's a year old. I go through the entire system because it's so easy to go look at everything on the planet and find out who has stuff in there that's over a year old. That's not done. It's sad. Anyway, with that, enjoy your day. Happy scrumming. Give a thumbs up. Always look on the positive aspect of the day. You have to, because shit happens. Sorry. Stuff happens all the time. Ring the bell once, twice. Stay positive. Find new ways of working. Find new ways, little things that'll make it go faster. If you're not playing with all that old data and doing reports on things that happened 2 years ago, think of all the time you just saved and that needless documentation. Speed up your system. You're not documenting stuff. You shouldn't be reporting on it, and you just move on, right? I mean, you have a reference point, but you could roll that up to a larger reference. You don't need each individual task, subtask, story, whatever. Epic. You don't even need the epic level. Be awesome. All right. Have fun. Enjoy your day, and take care, and see you tomorrow. Bye.